Good morning. Welcome back to our study of Philippians chapter 2. And today we'll be discussing verse 8. But let's read it together with verses 6 and 7. Of course, this passage is talking about Jesus, who, though he was in the form of God, did not consider equality with God something to be grasped, but emptied himself by taking the form of a servant and being born in the likeness of men, and being found in human form, he humbled himself by becoming obedient to the point of death, even death on the cross. Yesterday we talked about what it means that he emptied himself by taking the form of a servant. He gave up all of his characteristics as God, the Word, the power, the prestige, the position, the servitude of the angels, the glory, everything associated with God, the Trinity, in heaven, in the universe, in the spiritual realms. God, the Word, gave up all of that to take on flesh and to become a servant to servants, the lowest of servants. And that's explained a little bit further. Now that's the verses 6 and 7 are talking about Jesus as he was the Word. He was in the form of God. He was the fullness of God. He was God, but he made a choice. He made a decision. He made a commitment to become a man. As God, he chose to give up everything. As God, he chose to become a servant. As God, a spirit, he chose to be confined to a human body. So what happened? He was made in the likeness of men. He was born as a human child. So what happened once he became a human? Okay? As God the Word, he made the choice to become a man. What happened once he did take on flesh? Well, verse 8 addresses that. And being found in human form. Wait a minute, what does it mean being found? Who found him to be human? He found himself to be human. As a child, there's little awareness of who we are or what we are. Our parents teach us and we learn about ourselves. And Mary and Joseph had the added responsibility of teaching Jesus that he was the Son of God. Well, he was a child. He had a child's mind. He had a child's simplicity. He had a child's understanding. And he had to grow in that. As Luke 2:52 tells us, he grew in wisdom and in stature and in favor with God and man. So Jesus had to learn who he was. And at some point, it came to his understanding. He found, he discovered, he learned who he was. He was the Word become flesh. He had been God in heaven, and now he was man on earth, being found in the form of a man, or in the fashion of a man. This means everything about him was man. The way he walked, the way he talked, the way he thought, the way he carried himself, the way he interacted with others, the way he processed information. Everything about him was human, as is evident in the fact that he had to grow in wisdom and stature. He had to grow in knowledge and understanding. And he had to grow and to the point to where he could understand and discover and comprehend the fact that he was now a human being, where before he had not been, but now he was. He found himself being found in the form of a man. Now he made another choice. He humbled himself. He had made the choice before when he was the Word in heaven with the Father and the Spirit. He had made the choice to humble himself and become a servant. Now that he discovered that he had actually taken on that role, when as a man he came to understand and recognize that he had gone through with this plan, he had to make the choice again to humble himself as a human being. Before, he humbled himself as God. Now he humbled himself as a human being. He brought himself down to be plain, to behave in an unassuming manner. He didn't go around saying, "Guess who I am?" He didn't go around saying, "You have to listen to me because I know who I am and you don't." He humbled himself. How did he do that? He became obedient. Hebrews 5:8 says he learned obedience through the things that he suffered. The Word had never suffered anything. As a human being, Jesus had to suffer everything that we suffer. The growing pains, the heartaches, the losses, the deprivation, the disappointments. And Mary and Joseph had to teach him how to deal with those things, how to live in obedience to God in all of the things that he suffered. So he humbled himself by becoming obedient through the things that he suffered. And he became obedient in everything, even to death. God the Word become flesh to live for 30 years in the confinement of a human body. And especially once he knew who he was. And once he was baptized and the Spirit came to live with him and in him as it does us, to help him and to guide him and to draw him through the things that he had to go through as a man with a mission and a ministry, with a kingdom to establish, to face the potential stonings, the name callings, the verbal traps, the accusations. He had to deal with all of that, knowing who he had been, who he was in the flesh, but he also knew who he was going to be again when it was all said and done. So being found in human form, as he came to understand who he was and to remember, to be reminded of his purpose here on earth as a human, he humbled himself again by becoming obedient, even to death on the cross. No wonder he cried, Father, let this cup pass from me. But he had learned, not my will, but thine be done. Not what I want. There's that humility. There's that servanthood. The God of all creation said, not my will. Not my will. He had the right to make demands. He had the right to call down the angels. He had the right to destroy the earth right then and there, and everything and everybody in it, but he didn't. He became obedient. He stayed faithful to the commitment that he had made in heaven as the Word, and that he made again as he humbled himself to live the life of a servant in ministry among people for the 3 years leading up to his death and including his death. Not my will. Not my will. From before time, not my will. How can we demand our rights? How can we as children of God feel that we have any rights except to be humble? Let this mind be in you which was in Christ Jesus, who being in the form of God, did not consider equality with God something to be held on to be grasped, but he emptied himself by taking the form of a servant, being born in the likeness of man, and being found in human form. He humbled himself by becoming obedient to the point of death, even death on the cross. Let this mind be in you, which was in Christ Jesus. That's something that we need to work on every day of our lives. Not my will. Not my will. Not what I want, but what the Father wants. Not my will. I'm a servant to those around me, to share with them the gospel, to do for them what needs to be done so that they can see the love of God through Jesus Christ, so that they can learn, not my will. May God give us the humility, the recognition, the awareness of what he has done for us through Jesus, so that we can live servant lives of not my will. God bless you, give you wisdom and courage to be humble and strong in your service to him today.